All right, what's going on, everybody? Still trying to kind of get the camera set up here, so bear with me a second. There we go. Woo. What's going on, everybody? Thought I'd make a little video this morning just to kind of see how everybody's doing. Enjoying the weather. It's nice out. Gonna be doing some stuff later today with the family, so that's always fun. And then after that, I gotta work on this. I gotta work on the old Traverse here. Gotta swap out an AC unit. It's Georgia. Hot weather's coming, so it's gonna be a minute. What's going on, everybody? Kind of enjoying the weather. I think I'll open the sunroof this morning. Ooh, there we go. Hey, what's up, Keith? How's it going, man? Enjoying the weather. I know, Bryson. I feel you on that one, man. I'm definitely a little bit upset about that. I wish there was a little more football going on, but I guess it gives me an opportunity to get caught up on some of the other stuff that's going on. Martin's. What's Martin's? Better check and make sure I'm connected to the Wi-Fi. How's the signal? Is the strength okay? Is it coming through pretty good? Oh, yeah. I got you, Keith. I got you. So, hey, Mary, how you doing? Glad to see you back on the channel. I know you've been through some stuff here lately. Thanks, Keith. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about this morning was just kind of the overall way everything's going. I haven't done a few live shows in a while because it's that's good to hear, Mary, because the AAF last week I was doing something I couldn't really report on the game. The week before that, me and the family went to a festival, so I couldn't report on the game for that one. But I mean, honestly, the past two games really wasn't worth reporting on anyway. And then turn around and they've canceled the league because some of the NCAA or NFL Players Association is worried about the risk of injury. I guess my opinion on that is that's a little bit of a silly point of view, because if you're worried about an injury keeping you from playing sports in a league that you currently aren't good enough to play sports in, that seems a little bit counterproductive. I mean, I'm not going to play in the minor leagues in baseball because I'm worried about an injury. So I'm just going to wait until Major League calls me so that I don't have to worry about an injury. It doesn't work that way. It's just silly. Yeah, exactly. There's tons of players out there that have some talent, but there's a lot of players out there that really, I mean, me and Keith were talking about it, and he brought up some really good points. He brought up the point of, without more talent coming in, you're just seeing a whole bunch of kind of has-beens and never was and never will be's. And that's okay to a point. The league's got to start somewhere. But if you're not having these guys come up from the minors and have people getting emotionally invested in these players, then you're just not going to see that league really take off. Now, the fact that it was in an off season was a great benefit. That really got people pointed in the right direction as far as something to do. But I mean, if we don't have a reason to continue to watch, and it's just bad football, which is really what it was in Atlanta, there were so many chairs that were getting swapped around right out of the gate. There's absolutely almost no structure. One of the other things me and Keith talked about, I think Keith brought it up, I'm sure he did, as a matter of fact, is that they rushed. They really rushed the league too far along too quickly. They didn't get all their stuff in place, and they were trying to do that so that they could beat out the XFL from getting the market. And I think it was by the margin of a year or so. They really should have had the other agreements in place. I really thought that the league was set up better than it was, and I think a lot of people did. And I think that by the time that we really got to the end result, that it was okay, but it had a lot of missing parts. And you saw a lot of coaches and stuff swapping around and moving around. the fact that they had so many different coaches switch right out of the gate, that was a little concerning. I understand, they kind of got to get a best fit or whatever. But the other thing that really kind of upset me is that with as strong as the Atlanta market is, you would think that would have been their predominant market, so they really would have wanted that team to do well. And I get the philosophy behind trying to get local players and whatnot, and that's great. But not setting that team up to win is a little bit of a problem. So anyway, who was that? Bryson. Bryson, am I gonna watch the XFL? Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to now, man. I said there ain't gonna be nothing else on, but I think that's a pretty good ways down the road. One of the other things that me and Keith had talked about was without the help of the NFL, none of these leagues are probably going to succeed. The NFL is just too big of a machine. People are too emotionally invested. You've got to find a way to either cooperate or coordinate with those guys, at least in some fashion. There's plenty of players out there that we can find that's good players, but we really need to find a better solution if that's the route we're going to go. Simple as that. One of the other things I wanted to talk about was the number of players that we have getting in trouble at Georgia. Wow, just what in the world is going on, man? I mean, you got players that are getting arrested for marijuana. You're getting players that are getting arrested for fighting. It's a problem. And I mean, it's always been a problem at Georgia. I mean, I think last year was the first year that we really didn't have anybody get locked down for anything, or maybe there was one or two, but it always seems that there's one or two every year. This year we happen to have like 4 or 5. Bryce and I agree, weed is a BS charge. I agree with that. I don't like that's a penalty. I don't do it. But I don't have any problems with anybody who does. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's your body. Do whatever you want to with it. And this is how I justify that. I saw a meme on Facebook the other day, and I'm going to use it all the time. The number of people that have overdosed and died from weed is at the exact same number as the people that have been gored to death by a unicorn. That's to tell you how dangerous that drug is. It needs to be decriminalized. I think it is decriminalized here in Atlanta. It's not illegal to have it, but it's illegal. I think it's illegal to buy it or illegal to sell it. If it was legal, absolutely, Mary, I don't have a problem saying that. But I mean, you're gonna have. It's just like any other substance that you put into your body that can alter your state of mind, can alter your reactions. Anything that can do that needs to be kind of regulated, kind of like alcohol is. We need to make sure that, certain age limits, whatnot. I don't have a problem with it. As far as the flip side of that coin is the players know the rules. These are the rules they're told. These are the rules they all agree by. You're on a scholarship to play for University of Georgia. University of Georgia wants you to behave in a certain manner. And that manner includes not drugs and alcohol and not breaking the law. And when that happens, there's consequences, and there should be. I don't believe that the University of Georgia is in a position now where it can step out and say, hey, we're going to say it's okay to smoke weed. That would be them admitting, or that would be them acknowledging that, I don't know why Stevenson's wilding out either. Again, you can point at the leadership, but the University of Georgia can't very well step out there and say, hey, it's okay to break the law if you come here, because that's essentially what would happen, and then you're going to get recruited against on that. But Keith also brought up the other point that other universities are using things like this to recruit against Georgia at. Now, I will tell you that it seems like at Georgia, if every little minor incident, man, you're under a microscope, and it just gets blown up and thrown in the spotlight, and it's a big deal. I will say hats off to Kirby for coming out and saying, hey, this is my fault. He didn't blame players. He blamed himself. That's the trait of a good leader. Now, what he does from there, I don't know. I can guarantee you there's going to be some conversations had. I guarantee you there's going to be some rules implemented. We'll see what happens. It's just that one year we had a player passed out in a car, got in trouble from he was hired drunk in a car. A couple of years ago, he had a couple of players that were in a dorm room that apparently they had smoked out the room so bad that the dorm called campus police. Campus police showed up. I don't know if weed got through out a window or what it was. Then this year, obviously, you got a couple players get caught with weed again. Earlier in the season, you got players fighting. I mean, there was one of UGA players ended up going to Last Chance U, East Mississippi Community College. And I think it was Quincy Mauger. I'm not sure. I can't remember the guy's name. Was it Chauncey or something? I don't remember. But my point is this, is that Kirby Smart says that he believes there's good leadership on the team. I can see that. I don't know how much, but there could be some there. Yeah, Jaden Hunter was arrested for suspended license, and that's just stupid to get arrested for. I think the big problem is that these players, they get on campus in early spring, and they don't have anything to do. They have nothing to do. And you know, idle hands are a devil's workshop. You give these college kids enough room and time and opportunity, and they're going to get in trouble. However, that's not much of an excuse, because you have players over at every other university, especially universities like Alabama. If you've ever been to Tuscaloosa, there is nothing there. And when I say nothing, I mean nothing. Get on Google Maps and look at it. The campus is nice, but there's nothing else in that town. Those players manage to stay out of trouble somehow. Now, whether that's through cooperation of the local law enforcement or whether it's those guys that actually stay out of trouble, I don't know, and I don't care. We got to find a way to do it at Georgia. We don't need this kind of publicity. We don't need players suspended for games. I think our third game of the season is going to be Notre Dame. We certainly don't need players suspended for that game. I personally want to see Georgia come out and punch Notre Dame in the mouth and beat the ever-living brakes off of them. And then I want Notre Dame to run the rest of the season, have one loss, and then when they get to the, why aren't we in the college football playoffs? Because you're in an independent conference. That's why. You don't have a bowl game, or excuse me, you don't have a championship game to help you dig out of that. Go join the ACC like the rest of your sports. It's a bunch of babies. So I went down to Academy Sports, and they had a sale going on, and they had these hats right here, these visors, which is a really nice material. I don't know if you guys can see it. $15, man. I like it. Hey, what's going on, Sarah? Your boyfriend tried to run out the cops last week, took them on a 200-mile chase. Now we ain't together. Yeah, Mary. I'm gonna have to send you a shamrock or a horseshoe or something, girl. You need a change of luck. I don't know. Maybe that guy getting out of your life was a change of luck. I don't know. Girl, I don't want your kind of trouble. Goodness. What's going on, sir? How's your morning this morning? Yeah, Mary can pile it on, can't she, Sarah? Whew. And I mean, I ain't talking about like pile on the trouble. I mean, I'm talking about like pile on the trouble, not pile on the story. But the other thing I want to talk about, did you guys see what Dan Mullen was saying in the news? Talking about why Georgia's scheduling FSU. This is about the funniest thing I saw. It actually made me laugh out loud when I read it. He said on the media that about Florida scheduling FSU, that Georgia's trying to catch up to Florida. What? In what aspect? Right now, the only thing we're catching up to y'all on is criminal charge rates. Everything else, we're beating the hell out of. Oh my goodness. Trying to. Absurd Hero, thanks for jumping on. Yeah, that sucks, man. You can download the PSN app if you have the PlayStation Network, or you have the PlayStation View app. If you have PlayStation View, it's like $45 or $55 a month. You can download that app and you can play it on your smart device. Now, while that may not necessarily help you a whole lot, it may help you some. You can put it on an iPad or anything else too. Am I going to G-Day? Hell yes, I'm going to G-Day if I have to go by myself. That's just happening. So I'll be doing a live show from there. Did he fall and bump his head? He's nuts. He's absolutely nuts. He's also one of the most losingest freaking coaches in the SEC. And by the way, Absurd Hero, there's a couple of other, you'll have to look them up. There's a couple of other apps you can download onto your phone. And I can't tell you what to do with this, but I know that there's been people that's downloaded Kodi onto their mobile devices. And they find a way to get it that way. D'Wan Mathis. I think D'Wan Mathis definitely has an opportunity to be good, but yeah, ESPN Plus. I don't know if it's going to be on ESPN Plus though. I don't know if that's going to be televised on those stations. I haven't looked it up yet, but I'm going to see it first person. By the way, Keith is yeah, he's doing good. I've heard I went to one of the G-Day games. I went to one of the G-Day games with Keith Carr. I think it was last year or year before last. The A-Day game, huh? The A-Day game is next Saturday. And I think there was one year that we played on the same day. I'm really glad that they split it up this year. I like it when we play on different days. It's better for recruiting process. You guys get the players that you want to come visit you guys on A-Day. We get the players we want to come visit us on G-Day. and because of that, we can both get a fair shot at getting those players, because if they only see one game and that game is really good for that particular team, it's kind of difficult to sway them one way or the other. And I think right now Georgia is one of the few teams that can compete on the recruiting trail with Alabama, and I just want it to be fair. I don't want you guys to have any unfair advantages. I don't want to have any unfair advantages. I want us to win straight up. That's just the way it is. So I saw about a month and a half ago old Jalen Hurts doing a bench press. And then after that, I'm looking. I ain't heard much from old Jalen, so I don't know how he's doing out of Oklahoma. Bryson says, "Who am I looking at most for G-Day?" I'm actually looking at the receiving core. I'm more interested in can we catch. I'm not worried about Zeus. I'm not worried about James Cook. I'm not worried about DeAndre Swift. I'm not worried about those guys. I think the running game will be fine. We have a dominant offensive line. We'll be able to create gaps. Will we pick up 7, 8, 9, 10 a carry? Probably not. But picking up 5 to 6 yards a carry is more than enough, and I believe any decent 4-star running back can handle that. What's up, son? No, the stroller is in the back of the. Yep, here, you're going to need these. My son's getting some of the hardware loaded up that we're going to need, apparently. Let me go and hit that back door for him. I think one of the biggest guys that I'm looking for is. One of the big guys I'm looking for is going to be Demetrius Robertson. I want to see if this guy is a phenom. I believe he can be. Kirby was kind of talking him up a little bit. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that I feel like this guy could have contributed last year. OU working to make Jalen a star. Not sure if his running game will sit well with the OU's throwing game. Yes and no, Sarah. OU actually has a pretty decent running game if you look at their numbers. I feel like he can contribute to that in a fair way, but I also feel like he's not going to have the throwing success. I feel like if you've played for Alabama for as long as he has, he should have been developed into a better quarterback by now. I mean, it's not like he's a freshman. He's been around a while, so we'll see what happens. I think that if Georgia can really do some quality improvement at the core receiver catching position, getting routes open, I think that we can do a much better job of running a game. Georgia does great clock control, but one of the stats from last year is that if Georgia's not hitting, I mean, last year we averaged like 1.5 throws per game or receptions per game at 20+ yards. That's a problem. And the reason I say that's a problem is because Alabama was averaging like 3 and Clemson was averaging almost 4. So that shows that there's a there's a deficit there in our game, and we need to fix it. Now, run balance versus pass balance, we were pretty balanced, and that's good. But we need to be able to get down the field and show that we have that deep threat to open up some other aspects of our game. Last year, if we couldn't run the ball, we didn't do anything. That's how LSU beat us. I mean, that's just the way it goes. If we're not able to have a deep threat, if we're not able to strike deep when we need to, that's a problem. It was one of the biggest problems that we had. If you go back to Jacob Eason could not hit a railway car if it was going downfield. He'd overthrow it every time. When Jacob Eason came out his freshman year and he started slinging the ball downfield and he was overthrowing guys, I was thinking, hey, this guy's going to settle down and he'll get in rhythm and we'll be good. All season long, he just kept overthrowing guys. Result, 8-5 season. Next year, Jacob Eason comes out, and I'm like, man, this guy, I hope he's improved. He comes out in the spring game overthrowing guys. Very first game he got out there and played was overthrowing guys, and I was like, nope, this guy hasn't improved a bit. He's not going to be any better. We're stuck with this guy, and then, unfortunately, he got hurt, but good for University of Georgia because it allowed Jake Fromm to step in and take over. Heavy Hat says, still feel like UJ would have beat Clemson last year. At least y'all know how to control the tempo. Man, I appreciate the compliment, but I don't know if that's the case. Trevor Lawrence, man, is unbelievable. And those receivers he have are absolutely awesome. So, all right, last one here, and then I'm going to have to jump off, guys. I hope it's Alabama and Georgia playing for a national championship. Clemson gets to watch. Yeah, that'd be nice. So, all right, guys, I'm going to call it a day. We're fixing to head out. Thanks so much for tuning in. Glad you guys had an opportunity to join us for Coffee Talk. We'll check you guys later on. Have a great day. God bless.